Today I'm going to show you what I think is the easiest way to get shots like that using the Insta360 1X Mark II. Let's go. Okay, let's jump straight in, and before we get started, just a tip. Never take the cover off a 360 camera until you're ready to start filming. That's how I have owned 360 cameras for what, over 2 years, 2.5 years now, and I've never scratched, never marked a lens. I always keep the neoprene cover on until the last minute, take it off, start recording. So that was why you will always see this on until I am using it. The second thing is that you get the best results from a 360 camera the further away you can get it from your body. Don't hold it here, it's not an action camera. It's not a GoPro, it's not a traditional action camera. Get it as far away from your body as you can. At the very, very least, use this. This is the little pocket-sized invisible selfie stick that screws on the bottom, and that gets it out to, I think it's about 70 centimeters, which is fine for most use, but I think getting a little bit further than that works better. Now you've got a couple of options here. One is you could get this, which is the 10-foot long. The 10-foot long carbon fiber pole, which is far too big for in here. They also have a shorter carbon fiber pole, which is longer than that first one I showed you, and there's an aluminium one, which is longer. But what I like to do is, because this is pocket sized, I bought 2 of them. I just screw this in the bottom here, extend this out, and all of a sudden, I've got a lot more reach, and that's the method I use to shoot the footage I'm going to show you in this sample. Just a disclaimer though. This Insta360 will not recommend this. This creates a stress point right here, and under the right conditions, this will snap in half, or at least there's a good chance it'll snap in half. So, you've been warned. I do this. I'm telling you that it can work, but if you do this and you're not careful, you will destroy or lose your camera. Let's continue. Okay, so we'll say you've got your footage. Now, what is the best way to process it? And for me, my favorite way to process the footage from a 360 camera is using the Viewfinder mode in the app. So let's load up the app and we'll get into that, and I'll explain why that's a mode I prefer to use. So let's open up the Insta360 app and switch on the camera. Now you can process the footage directly over the Wi-Fi from the camera, but to be honest, my preference is to download the file to the phone first, because I find the playback is slightly faster when you do that. So that's what I'm going to do here. Follow the instructions for connecting the Insta360 to your phone, find the shot you want and download it, and then we'll go from there. I'm not going to tell you how to do that, it's pretty straightforward. Get the file that you want to actually edit, download it onto your phone and open it up. And the first thing you just need to do is just play through it in real time. Now I'm going to skip ahead here because I don't want to edit this entire clip. So I'm just going to just play it in real time, watch what's happening, swipe, move around, have a look. Just see where the camera goes and what you can see. At this stage, you're just planning what you might want to use as your angle. You can see here I'm running along a cliff walk. This is Blackhead Coastal Path. I actually did an entire video about this, which you can see linked in the description. You head down in here into a cave. So you're just at this stage trying to think, what angle do I want to use? Do I want to be looking at myself? Do I want to be looking ahead? Do I want to have a wide angle, a narrow angle? And just plan out what you want to do with the shot. Okay, so what I'm going to do quickly before we then get into the actual reframing is I'm going to go back to the start of the shot here, and I'm going to trim the shot just so it contains the bit I actually want to use. I'm going to tap the trim function there, tap it again, that starts the trim, and I'll just swipe that across to the end, hit that tick, and there we go, I've got the shot. Now, this is where we get into the reframing. So you tap that little plus there, and you've got a few options, but the one I like using the most is Viewfinder. And the reason I like using it the most is because it is the most organic. Tap Viewfinder. Let me just explain that. You've got this red dot, and that is your field of view and the play button. So when you press and hold that, it starts to play, and depending where you slide it, it either zooms way out to like a tiny planet, or it zooms away into a more standard FOV. And you can then also, you can see the way that moves, using the gyroscope in your phone, control where the shot looks. It's just such a natural look. So what I want to do is I want to start with it looking at myself, and then I'll spin around into the path. So we're just going to start. So I'm just going to press and hold. There I am, and I can spin around here. And now I'm looking along the path. I'm gonna, let's see, I'm gonna slowly zoom out there by swiping. I'm thinking ahead, what am I gonna do with the shot? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna speed it up. I think it'll look really good if it speeds and flies along here, and because then it goes down into this bit. Zoom along, and then I'm mentally thinking, because I know what's coming up. I get to this corner and back and up, and then you sweep around the corner. I'm going to do another spin. I say something to the camera there. Turn around, and now this bit, I'm heading down into this cave. So I want to go ahead, as I go into the cave, widen it out even more. Maybe I'll point down. There's a crazy kind of angle. There's me. Okay, so my idea is I'm going to zoom through. As I go through, I'm going to zoom forward, and then spin around and zoom back out into a tiny planet as I'm now along that coast. Flip around into the path, and then I'm just going to hold this as I run down the length of the path. And then once I've got this certain point, I'm going to stop, and I'll show you how to make this even more impressive. Steps, right, that's pretty much where it's at. So I hit that tick up in the top now. That's the shot reframed, but now I want to add a little bit more to it because I want to speed certain parts up. So I know I want to speed that entire end section up all the way from, let's see, from where it now starts to spin. So you just kind of swipe in the timeline, go back, and it will show you your reframing. So see there, just as that angle starts to head, spin around to it there, I'm going to then change the speed. So I tap speed. Let's see, I'll tap speed here. And I like to do this in increments, so I start with a slow speed and then get faster and faster and faster. So I'm going to start 2 times speed, just do a little bit of that, hit the tick, 4 times speed, little bit more of that, hit the tick, jump up to 8 times speed, bit more of that, hit the tick, and then 16 times speed, which is kind of really fast, and do that almost to the end of that shot. Let's see, once I can see the end in sight. Okay, I'm going to change it to 8, a little bit of 8, a little bit of 4, and done. And let's see, is there any other parts of this I want to speed up a bit? Yeah, I think I'm going to speed up this section a bit where after I come around the corner, let's see. So I come around the corner. Yeah, from when the camera angle starts to go, I'm going to speed it up from there. Not too much. I think I'm going to speed it up 2 times because I can always speed this up a little bit more on the computer. So once it gets around there, I'll maybe, yeah, let's go up to 4 for that bit actually. Until we start to come down in there. Okay, this bit's quite fast actually. I'll make that 2. Let's just make it 2. Because that'll give me a nice swip, and then I'll make it come back to real time about there. Okay, I think I'll speed this bit up as well. So I come around the corner, and then as it swips back down, let's go to 4 times speed. Down we go into the cave, and then as soon as that angle changes, hit the tick, go to 2 times. Through the cave, and then on that flip back to real time. Okay, and those are all the speed changes I'm gonna make. But the next thing I'm gonna do is just tweak the colors a bit to show you how to get the best looking footage, because I often get comments, how do you get your 360 footage to look so good? I'm gonna try and find a place where there's a lot of contrast, a lot of lights, lots of darks, which is, this shot here is perfect for that. Where you've got the sky in the background, you've got the dark cliffs. And I'll just show you the settings that I use. If we go into adjust and swipe along and find shadow and brighten up the shadows, see where they're brightening up? So I'm starting at 0, I'm bringing that all the way up to like plus 75 or so on. Go to highlight, and then pull down your highlights a little bit as well. And then I just also like to increase the exposure just a bit. Increase the saturation a bit, and then go in and just a little tiny bit of contrast. You can do all of it. I typically do all this afterwards in the app, but if you want to get shots right out of the camera without having to worry about that, this works quite well. Okay, pretty happy with that. Hit tick. Now, for exporting it, you just hit the export button, top right, and tap export reframe video. Settings I use, you tap into custom here. Resolution, full HD, 1920 by 1080. Bitrate, set this to the highest for the highest quality, and then hit save. And there are options here for color plus and remove grain. Color plus adds this kind of like HDR effect to the footage. I don't really like it, but you might like it, so have a play around. Remove grain, I would use that if it's night and you've got like noise in the footage, but typically during the day, bright sunlight, you don't need to use it. So let your clip export. So from there, let your clip export. If you're on an iPhone and you're editing on a Mac, you can then airdrop it to the Mac, or you have other options such as you can upload it from your phone to Dropbox, or there's ways of transferring it with a cable to your computer, or you can just edit it straight on the phone and, you know, work from there. But that is essentially my workflow for working with 360 clips. It's reframe them using that viewfinder, make a couple of brightness and contrast adjustments, export them, and then get them into my editing app for the final work.
Off the railway bridge.
Under your wing, everything is alright. Nothing ever will be quite the same.
Okay, and hopefully you find that video useful. Hopefully that will help you to get better shots out of your Insta360 One X Mark II. It wasn't a full editing tutorial, it was just to show you how to get the best shots from the camera. There's other editing tutorials out there if you want to find out how to actually do more in an editing program, how to add music, how to play with color grades, and how to speed footage up and do things like that. But it's just, yeah, just my workflow for getting really, really nice shots off this camera. I really, really love 360 footage and what you can do with it. I find it works best when you combine it with footage from other cameras. If you want to see a really good example of that, go watch my video, which was called running the Blackhead coastal path, because that's where I got the footage that was used in this. And if you think you'll enjoy that, have a look around the channel, see what else is on here. I make videos about small cameras, action cameras, drones, running the outdoors. Feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, which is going to be about, I think it's going to be another drone comparison, which is very exciting. Bye.